I'll listen to you anytime you need somebody to talk to. You're a good young man, and you're going to find that too. You're going to be great at what you do, and you're going to find happiness, and just treat that friend with kindness. That's the only way it can go. Be amicable, and like you said, don't argue. That's a good attitude to take. Just walk away, pray, and the next time you see him, extend that kindness. I gotta go. Love you lots, bro. Send me some links. I'm going to try and do something about email to make sure I can like and subscribe. They won't even let me subscribe. I'll figure something out. Have a blessed day, brother.
Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. It's good to see y'all. Looking forward to tonight's discussion. Grab a seat. I don't know if you voted, didn't vote, but to the best man. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Before we get into tonight's show, let me give my flowers out to my writers, my content creators, my poets, singers, authors. You know who you are. Maybe we've worked together, maybe we haven't yet. I look forward to the days where we get to collab, and I'm just grateful for the people that I did get the opportunity to sit down with and talk with. Shout outs to you. Uh, I'm going to bring my partner up here. Do me a solid. If you're not following him, make sure that you follow him here on IG and anywhere else he is available. If you have any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to discuss, email me. You can reach me here. Matter of fact, I'm not going to wait the entire stream before I put this up. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it right now. Just so there's no, well, how do I? Oh, here you go. All right. Everything you need to know is right there at the bottom of the screen. Without any further ado, let me introduce the one and only Jason Matthews. What's up, sir? What is good? Talk to me.
Oh, it's all good in the hood, man. It's all good. How's it going with you?
I feel like it's Thursday, but it's Tuesday. That's how it feels. It feels like I've already had an entire week wrapped up into one day. And I am here where I can go ahead and release all of my my thoughts and any angst that I might have. You know, I can't complain. I'm just in a good spot right now, considering. Shout outs to
Excellent.
everybody that's watching right now. Strav just pulled up in the building. Muse of Sharon, salutes to you. Appreciate you for popping up. I saved this one because we spoke about two things last week. I wanted to make sure I spun the block on one of the because it was interesting to me. We always get in these spots where we end up questioning the people that we deal with at some point. As you're getting older, you start to look at your decisions a little more sharper. You want to be more precise with who you affiliate yourself with. Are you making the greatest choices in terms of relationships, friendships, doing business? And then you start to reevaluating just everything from your personality to how you take care of your health, what you tolerate. Are you honoring your own boundaries? And you pointed out that one thing. And when you said this, I was like, yeah, uh, I'm hella guilty of it. And I know a lot of people might be in these spots right now. Defining your friendships, your relationships, all of it. You're at the cusp. You're right there where you've had a million different red flags thrown at you, and you're trying to decide: do I stay entertaining these people, or do I get the hell on with my life, or am I the problem? One decision can make or break your career. It can change your course. It can dictate who stays in your life and who removes themselves from it because of your inability to make the tough decisions. Your thoughts, sir. Talk to me.
Yeah. Your friendships are really going to be the lifeline for everything else that you do in life because they are supposed to be the ones that you are building community with. And community starts with trust. And if you feel like you cannot trust the people that you are hanging around with, why the hell are you hanging around with them? That's my first question. If you are in the company of people who don't recognize your potential or aren't willing to see the best parts of you, then why are you there? If you are in the company of people who add stress, who create needless conflict, who make you feel like you have to fight to be recognized, and even then it feels like the recognition is either half-hearted or backhanded. Why put yourself in those kinds of situations? Because I've always been of the mind that your friendship, your community are supposed to be there to support you, and vice versa. You support them, and it's through that support they're able to really better yourself, understand what you're capable of, and how you can move past those boundaries. People that are also trying to better themselves. And through the process of you and they bettering themselves, and it doesn't matter for men or women, this is really ubiquitous for all people. As you grow, you continue to support each other rather than trying to compete, drag down, or marginalize the successes that anyone has had. And if that's not happening, the question has to be, why am I doing this? Because these should be the kind of people that you want to stay away from, which means you've defined the people that you don't want in your life. Hopefully. So great, good job. You've defined who you don't want in your life. Now it becomes, who do you want in your life, and where are they, and how do you access them? Just because you can interact with someone doesn't mean you should. And the process of whether you should or not really depends on, are they adding value to your life as you strive to add value to theirs? I'm going to yield the mic right there.
I told a story the other week about being at a crossroads. And I think a lot of people come to that crossroads. You either going to stay a child or you're going to become an adult. Well, what comes with it? I can't remember the same precise, but it's along the lines of putting away childish things, something to that effect. Is a like a biblical saying. Actually, it's a verse, and it took me a long time to truly understand and grasp what it meant. So, what it boils down to, your identity, your spirituality, your faith, your purpose, encapsulating all of your iniquities, your flaws, your imperfections, um, doing a master review of your life and the choices that you've made, putting yourself in the seat to be self-examined, to say, well, would I be proud of myself if this was the last breath that I ever took? Could you have done better? What made you gravitate towards this person? What about you made you want to be in their life or want them to be in yours? And really asking yourself the real question: Are you ready? Are you ready to let go, or are you still in a scarcity mindset and you're fearful that what's waiting for you once you decide to take a step forward and say, I don't want to play with this anymore. I don't want to entertain this anymore. This is not who I am now. What I seek is probably going to require more of me. I'm willing to take the chance of going after that, knowing that I'm going to have to put in strenuous amounts of time, effort, and focus to obtain the things that I am desiring based on learning and remastering the way that I perceive life, people, and just myself. Your purpose and your identity are hand in hand. The things that make you go hand in hand in direct effect towards the dreams that you're trying to interweb, the people that you're trying to commingle with relationship wise, uh, humor, sarcasm, being serious, being spontaneous, knowing how to have a good time, just a number of different things. Are you at a place where you can say, this person is not who I can affix myself with anymore because they're still living a certain way that opposes where I'm trying to go? Or are you holding on to it because you're not really certain or confident in what's on the other side moving forward? I'll concede there.
You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about how we tend to um, we tend to compartmentalize who we are, and this isn't a bad thing because we need to make sure that we really, especially when we're making connections, whether it be intimate, whether it be friendship, whether it be professional, whatever. We need to make sure that we are building those connections the right way. And there was this post that I saw many years ago. I actually built a course around it that talks about the different types of relationship that we enter into with people. So there's the social relationship where we basically intermingle. We kind of like create the essence of just getting together, having good times, and after that we get into more of the physical relationship. Now this is not sex. I'm not talking about intimacy. What I'm talking about is the idea of being physical with each other, being animated, the ability to have touch be a source of trust, whether it be a hand on a shoulder for consolidation, whether it be a hug, whether it be a dap, whatever it might be, just the act of interacting with each other. Because physical touch is really important for creating a sense of who another person is. And knowing that you can have that kind of interaction with someone is powerful. So after that, it's intellectual. The way that we understand our thoughts and the way we think about things. And after that, it's emotional. The way that we feel about things, to include our fears as well as our hopes and dreams. And once you get through all of those layers, there's one layer left. And that is our spiritual layer, the spiritual relationship. The idea of what we hold sacred, what we believe, our motivations, our morals, and our values. And getting people to understand those, knowing that they're going to be accepted, not that they're going to be taken on by others, but that they're just going to be accepted and appreciated by others. They don't have to be adopted, but they are recognized. And it sounds like that's similar to what you were talking about. The way in which we interact with people, it's in this layered setting where we first have that social layer of, okay, we want to have this dynamic, but is there any substance there? And as we get deeper and go through those layers, we understand that trust can be had. And through developing that trust, it begins to create an appreciation, a sense of almost duty to one another. The idea of I'm responsible to myself, and I'm responsible for how I interact with you. And the more that we take on that idea of responsibility in that way, of I have a duty of responsibility to myself, making sure that I am happy, healthy, and have the right boundaries. At the same time, I'm also responsible for the way in which I interact with others and the way that they interact with me. It's really powerful stuff when you look at relationships in that way, where you have that kind of dynamic of not just hanging with people, but it develops into a sense of that shared responsibility. Begin to see the real power that relationships have, the real power that connections on any level, how necessary they are to the human condition. I'm going to yield there.
I think what you just said was interesting because for me, I hate always bringing it back to me, but it's hard not to, especially when you're so connected to something that a person says. I always was very considerate of who I was tied to for whatever reason, or whatever level it was. So if you were just someone that I was working with, like for 8 hours, I would do things consciously without any mention of it to help your day go by smoother. Or I would like helping you with tasks that weren't assigned to me, or maybe adding some jokes in there here and there to kind of make the day go by a little faster. Maybe just doing lunch or something just instilled in me that says, well, we're here for 8 hours. I don't know how work is affecting you, but to a certain degree I can relate because we're both here for the same amount of time, and I understand the level of impact that the pressures can put on a person. So me thinking, oh, they probably stressed out. They probably got some stuff going on in their mind, man. Let me see if I can kind of do something to alleviate that a little bit. It might not do a lot, but and that's how I approach it outside of the workplace too. Um, that's how I feel relationships of any kind should be. Add on, you cannot put control on trust, right? That's what we came to the other day, trying to dictate how a person is supposed to respond to your generosity and how they're supposed to accept or deny it and all of those different things. Let me ask the question. Do you think people are generally considerate of the parties that they bring into their proximity for whatever reason? I mean, overall, I'm not speaking about the small minority. I'm talking about just in general. Are we still in a place where we're considering other people throughout our own personal development, or are we just more selfish now? I don't.
Um, I think we've been conditioned to be more self-serving. But I think that when it comes down to the important things, and that's more for the small type things. I think when it comes for the big things, that the human condition takes over. It's a very powerful thing. Why is it that when tragedy happens, people come together? Why is it that when there's any kind of bad news or joyous event, people congregate? Why is it that whenever there's something that provides hope or something that provides grief, people come together? This is an ingrained human survival mechanism that overrides everything. And that's why I don't think you can say that people are inherently selfish. Because, I mean, to the point where they want to survive, sure. But in that survival comes the need for community, comes the need for coming together. So it's one of those things. This is why I call it the greatest trick that God played on humanity, because we need each other. And at the same time, we we also want our own personal survival. But in order to achieve that survival, we have to want to be with each other. So I think that inherently people are not overly selfish. I think that society has and the use of technology, especially social media, has created selfishness, but I don't think it has gotten to the level of replacing the human condition. I don't know if it ever will.
Let's see if I can frame this. Let's say you have gone through what I call the Shawshank Redemption. I don't know how many people have seen this. Let's say you've gone through this and you come out the other side covered in sewage, metaphorically speaking. Everything gets washed away. That time that you did suffering and going through, everything that you've ever experienced, everything gets washed away. Clarity comes. Your eyes are opened. You're faced with two options. The person that is right here that you've grown up with, and the person that you have yet to meet. Now, the person that you've grown up with, they know you because, well, they grew up with you. The only problem is you've rewritten history. We don't know the inner conversations, the inner struggles that a person goes through because we could never be inside of their body. Transformations happen. When they come back to you, you're still looking at them like they're that person. So the problem is, what do you do now? Do you acclimate to who they are? Can a person who's known you all your life look at you differently than who you are now? If you're a new person, your conversations are different. The things that you entertain are different. The way you view humor and all that is different. Can they look at you differently and move forward with you from there?
Yes, but it takes a monumental transformation from who you were. And we talked about this last time as well. The only way that a person can truly see you as different is if you act differently. And acting differently means that you are displaying qualities of a person different than what you were before. So I'll give you a personal example. When I was growing up in Massachusetts, I was surrounded by people who saw me as Jason Matthews, the boy. Many of the family friends and community members that I grew up with knew me from being a child, and even as I grew up into high school, and then also went to university, people would still see me and interact with me in a little bit of ways as if I was still Jason Matthews, the boy. And then I went away. I went to New Hampshire first, And then I came here to Canada. And the amount of growth that I had personally, it radically changed my perspective of who I was and who other people were. So back in April, I went back down to Massachusetts to visit my dad. And I had the opportunity of interacting with many people who had known me as a child. And every single time I interacted with them, after that interaction, they would tell me, "You have grown into such a wonderful man." They no longer saw me as a child because I had done the work necessary to grow beyond myself. And it's a hard and scary thing to do, man. Tackling the dark night of the soul and wanting to go beyond yourself, but it's worth it. And when you do that work, people can't help but see you differently. The skin that you once had, the metaphorical skin that you once had, you've shed off. You are no longer that person. That person has effectively died, the person that you were before. And they can no longer see that person because that person is long gone. All they can see now is the person that you are, and they have to recognize you for that person. Otherwise, they want to demean you. And if that's the case, do they really belong in your life anyway? Fortunately, I never had that problem with the people that I interacted with. So I didn't have to deal with that. What I do know is because of the shift that I had made within myself, it was palatable. It was noticeable by the way that I carried myself, the way that I interacted with others, the way that I worked a room, whatever it was. I was different. My father saw it. My family friends saw it. The people that I knew within my community saw it. They all saw me as being different because I had grown.
The reason why I spent the block and asked is because a person can guilt trip you into feeling bad for setting new boundaries. Like, let's keep it a buck. Just because you feel bad about me saying I don't think this is funny no more, don't put your shit on me. If I want to do something different, I want to do something different. But why? First of all, why do you have a problem with me saying no? Why do you have a problem with me saying, I'm not with this. Keep that over there. If that's what you want to do, cool. But I'm gonna remove myself from this because this is not aligning with where I'm at. And you got people that be like, "Oh, you change. Oh, you acting brand new, and you're acting fake, and you're acting phony, and this ain't you. This ain't you. I know you. I know you. Blah 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 blah." Those are gaslighters, folks that really be trying to manipulate you to make you stay the way that you were for them. Because if you remain the way that you were for them, they can continue to use you the way that they. I'm trying to find the right word for it. So they had a certain format that they followed that kind of benefited them in their routine, and you were part of that formula. If you change it, that's going to rub them the wrong way. That's how I kind of look at folks who have a problem with you trying to progress and grow. It's like they don't really they say that they want better for you, but their actions dictate that they really don't like it. Because if they really were in support of it, they would oblige you. They would adjust. Because the adjustment wouldn't really be a problem. Like if someone came to me and said X, Y, and Z, and I'm not accustomed to it, it's like, well, I'm not really used to it. Maybe I'm not really in agreement to it, but because of who the person is to me and what they mean to me, I would make some room for it because I know how important it is to you. Which I go all the way back around and land right where you said that a lot of us were conditioned to have that self-serving attitude. I agree 100%. And now for a lot of people, you got to decide if these people are in your space for the right reasons or not. Or are you one of those folks who are doing the opposite to help somebody else and you're only there for your own reasons? I think it's something to really think about.
So this is what I meant by the people that are not for you. Because if they are trying to convince you that you are someone who you aren't, it is for their own purposes only. And what reason do you have being around those kinds of people? First of all, what is it that makes you believe that that's all you are worth? What is it that makes you believe that this kind of person is what you deserve? And why would you feel that way? If you've really done the work, why would you still hang around with people like that? For me, there were many people that after I had gone through many different cycles of doing the work, I saw people as being like, I can't hang out with you anymore. You're not right for me. And I just quit them cold turkey. Went on. It meant that I had no friends, no social group. I'd rather have no social group than the wrong social group. And it takes that kind of courage to really find the people that you're meant to be with, because a person won't stay alone for long unless they want to. If they're seeking a group of peers that are going to respect them, they will find that group. It may not look the way they expected, at least not at first, but they will find that group. It will provide them what they need for that time being, until they need to find something else. And when they do find that, they will get that. But you can only find what you are ready to receive. And you have to be willing to let go of what doesn't serve you in order to receive that which you're looking for. And people who are hanging around others out of duty or because of history, or no, screw that. It doesn't matter. The history you have with someone only matters as long as as long as there is value in that relationship. If there's no value in that relationship, history doesn't matter. The history is history. So it's important to be able to put that into context. No one deserves your attention except for those that you deem worthy of your attention. I yield the mic.
Sensational.
So we got a collective of men and women who are going to clubs, going grocery shopping, hanging out, drinking, smoking, partying, bringing their significant others around, their partners, having all of this trust in the world for these people, bringing them around their family. Some of y'all played in the sandbox together. You really had this this photo album of memories that you accumulated with somebody forever. So your heart and your soul is damn near tied in to these people, but you're just not that person anymore. If you're fortunate enough to still be alive and breathing and you're trying to really get somewhere, I think the hardest part of moving on, and we did cover this before too, but I kind of just want to reiterate it. You want them to be a part of you moving forward. You want them to come along with you the whole way, but it just is impossible for everybody to do that. And I think another thing that's difficult is detaching your personal feelings and perception of what the person is to you versus what they actually are outside of you. So you see somebody one way, but evidence shows that they are something completely different than you want them to be, and you're forcing them to be this. So it makes it increasingly more difficult for you to let that go, because it feels like it's a form of I failed, I didn't do enough, or I don't know what it's like having this unhealthy attachment to something that is out of your control. I've looked at a lot of people. I've looked at hundreds of people a certain way, and I wanted them to be that way. But you go into situations seeing people for who they are, and you go into situations seeing them for what you want them to be. You so you got two versions of them running through your head. You're just constantly fighting off the reality. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's it's almost like what are we doing? Why do we do that? I mean, you know that you can't do nothing other than probably argue with them, go back and forth over stupid stuff. Maybe you be cool for a week, and then it's a hot and cold thing. But the fact remains the same. That's just who they are. But you still linger and hang around, hoping that something else comes out of it. I think that's hella unhealthy. I think the minute that you accept the fact that they are exactly what they've shown you, and you stop being so like, this is what I said, this is what I want, this is what I've created. So because this is what I created, that's what it's going to be. As soon as you remove yourself from out of it, and you just allow them to just be what that is, you'll feel a lot better. I yield.
I think a reason why is because people inherently are afraid of rejection. And that fear of rejection creates also a sense of people pleasing as well as um, desire for acceptance and the avoidance of conflict. But here's the thing, conflict is inevitable, it has to happen. And the more that you shy away from conflict, the more likely it is that someone is going to take advantage of that and take advantage of you because you aren't willing or able to establish and reinforce the boundaries that you say that you want people to respect. Boundaries can only exist if they are supported, if they are reinforced. And that requires conflict, social conflict. I'm not talking about like direct action, nothing like violence, but it requires people to not get along for a little bit, to have arguments, discussions, yelling matches, disagreements, whatever. But through that, when the when the when the motive is correct, it creates an understanding. But no understanding can be had if you aren't willing to lean into the conflict. And when you lean into that conflict, especially with those people who are not meant for you, they're going to shy away anyway because they can't be around someone who's going to have the kind of upstanding boundaries that you have. It's going to intimidate them. They don't want to be around that. Great. They've done the work for you. All you had to do was stand up to your boundaries. The better thing is just to say that we are no longer in a place where we can really be compatible, or that we can really socialize, or that I can't hang with you, whatever it might be, and then move on. That's the best way that I can see it going. But for those who can't be that blunt or that direct, I understand. It's important to be able to do what you can and stick to as close to your boundaries as possible. If you need to let other people do that work for you while you maintain your boundaries, letting people know where you stand, but not able to push that last bit, they'll do it for you because they won't be able to stand around someone who has that healthy of boundaries. Anyway, that's just my perception. This is what I've noticed through my own work and through helping other people through their work. I'm sure that I would like to think that this is a universal rule of human behavior. I've seen many instances of it, but I haven't interviewed every single person on Earth, so that's not for me to say. All you can do is assume. I'm going to yield the mic.
I think you can find strength in all weaknesses. How you go about it is uniquely up to you. And what I'm learning is how to utilize strengths that I normally don't highlight enough, and I replace those with the areas where I'm probably the weakest. So if I'm not, let's say you're introverted, well, like me, I guess you can say it, but contrary, because a lot of people have kind of said I'm not really introverted, but I kind of feel like I am. I think I'm a cross between introverted and extroverted. I'm not a loud person. I don't like to yell. I don't find the need to scream. I'm not trying to prove nothing to no one other than respect my space. So if I'm not someone who is overly aggressive and loud, and how do I get my points across? Well, my strength is the pen. My strength is the pen and paper. What I can't get across to you vocally, all I need is a piece of pen and a paper, or just give me a notepad, give me a phone, an email, and I can get everything I need to get out very thoroughly without any hiccups. That's my strength. So, like I said, it varies with people. You, one thing you might be good at might be something I'm horrible at. And if you have a hard time trying to separate or remove yourself, then you have to figure out how and what is best for you to do so and accomplish it as effective as possible, while there might be shrapnel that comes with it, but you can kind of minimize it just using certain things that you are good at. But that, I mean, that's how I've done it. At least that's what I'm working on. I think for me it works hella great. One, because I look at it this way: if I write and articulate, and because they always say your my delivery and et cetera is just choicy. So if I write it down, parentheses, use all of my punctuation marks, all of that, and I'm just as explicit as possible without being biased in my thoughts, and it's just raw and authentic, there's no denying. One, because it's documented. So anything that comes from this, I have paper trails. Vocally, aggressively getting loud and excessive to make your points is not the way to separate or put yourself in the greatest position that you're trying to put yourself in, especially if you're trying to move forward. I want to leave a certain impression. It's not necessarily to make myself look good or bad. It's just I just want to make it perfectly clear where I stand. And I mean, that's pretty much that. But like I said, to each his own. Whatever works for you. I just don't want to go into another year holding on to things that's not doing no good to me. I don't think anybody wants that. Take from that what you will. What I want to say too also, and I'll yield the mic. Um, the reason why you want to define the relationship is because you don't want to waste no more of your time. Time is valuable. It's very limited. It is. It's not as exclusive or eternal as you may think it is. It is very short, and you want to make the best of it and the most of it as you can. So now is probably a good time to start really reevaluating some stuff. I yield.
I think reevaluation should happen often. Just as we shower regularly, we should always be reevaluating our behaviors, our social circles, our careers, the even our love interests or the relationships we're in. Evaluate them often. What do we need to do in order to have ourselves in the best possible situation? When it comes to our partners, how do we make sure that we're in the most fulfilling relationship possible? Is that possible with my current relationship? These are questions that have to be asked. In your job, same thing. What do I need to do to make sure that my job is the most fulfilling? Is that possible with my job? Great question. My social circle. What do I need to have in order to feel like I belong? That I have that sense of fulfillment. And this isn't just about your own, like what they can do to fulfill you. Your fulfillment then it bleeds into everything that you interact with. When you feel more fulfilled, you want to create fulfillment for others. It's just a desire to better the lives or enrich the lives of others when you feel a sense of fulfillment of purpose. And this is why the community aspect of humanity is so strong, and why it works so well. Because as you begin to live your purpose and your fulfillment, you then find ways you can help others do the same. I'm gonna yield the mic there.
My final thoughts. You just brought up something that slipped my mind. I wanted to go on real quick. It's not a one sided thing. It should always be reciprocal. The energy should always be reciprocal. Of course, you don't want nobody to force it, but you also don't want to be investing or involved somewhere where you're the one that's always pouring out, and nobody's returning it to you. How does that work? How do you find logic or an excuse for that type of behavior? For the love of me, I don't get it. I can't even romanticize it. So, I mean, if that's a thing, nah, that ain't it. Leave it alone. Please leave it alone.
For my final thoughts, self-awareness is the first step to creating purpose. So the more you are aware of how you are interacting with others or how you're interacting with yourself, the more likely you are to create opportunities to interact with yourself in better ways, because you're going to want to. No one wants to interact with themselves badly. And when you have the desire to really understand how your actions, responses, and reactions are affecting you and others, the more likely you are to want to improve in the way that you interact with yourself and the way that you interact with others. But that's not possible without self awareness.
As always, the wisdom came through. Something in my spirit said we need to come back to this one because hanging on to people can be very damaging to you. It can make people on the outside. Let's say somebody was hovering around, maybe just observing from a distance, and they might have some type of interest, but they're observing the people that you hang around, and they're looking at it, and they're thinking to themselves, they seem cool, but I'm seeing how they're getting treated, or I see the type of parties that they're associated with. If they're logical and they are healed and they're not broken and they got common and they're looking at that, it's probably going to deter them from coming anywhere near you because of what you associate yourself with. It's not to downplay people, it's just sometimes you block your own blessings when you refuse to move on and admit that it's time for certain things to come to an end. I hope this discussion helped somebody. I hope it gave some perspective somewhere. So I sure as hell know that it's done a lot for me. Fearing threats to my sense of harmony is definitely one of the things that kept me stuck in my development well into my 20s. I hear you, bro. I hear you. And look, I'm certain it did a complete disservice to a lot of your interactions because I've been there before too. You're not in full alignment with where you want to be at. It throws off your success. Oh, my camera. Noted. Noted. See, I don't see it on my side. So unless somebody points it out, I don't catch it. I got you though. We about to um, get up out of here anyway, but yonder domain, I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me know. Strav, salutes to you, sir. Everybody that's watching right now, appreciate y'all for coming out. I keep forgetting it's Tuesday. We still got 3 more days to go. Uh, I'll definitely be tapping in with y'all tomorrow. Jason will be back Thursday. I mean, Lord willing, we don't know what the week is going to bring, but I hope and pray that everyone has a blessed remaining week, that you're covered, that you're healthy. If you have any topics, anything that you would like for us to discuss up here in the future, you can. I thought I had it up here. I must have removed it. But if you have any topics that you would like us to talk about, or any questions you want to ask, hell, maybe you want to ask Jason some stuff, because I'm sure as hell nowhere near where he is with certain subjects. So if you have if you have any questions, you can email me, you can message me. I'll save them. I'll bring them back up, or on the next stream we can bring it up. But yeah, man, another good show. I salute to you, sir. Always a pleasure to have you up here.
Likewise, always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. We about to get up out of here. I see y'all tomorrow. Hold on, let me pull this off here real quick.